So BTS's ARIRANG came out last week and I was like, but despite the music, I was really interested in the visual design of the album, and not just the album cover. The whole promotion of this album was a visual spectacle and really shone a light on BTS's origins. That really amazed me as a graphic designer. So in this video, I will attempt to shine a light on some of the choices made behind the visual identity of ARIRANG and its accompanying promotional material. Let's go! So the promotion of ARIRANG started with the What Is Your Love Song campaign. Now, this was partially to tie into Valentine's Day, but it did kick off the start of the ARIRANG album promotions. BTS's creative team had plastered red tape all across the world with the phrase What Is Your Love Song written on it, accompanied by some beautiful, decorative rose installations. To name a few examples, the tape could be found in London, Seoul, and New York, and even all over social media. There was also custom variations of this tape where BTS asked other artists what their favourite love song is. A few examples I could find were from Megan Thee Stallion and Cat's Eye. The red tape made it feel like BTS had cordoned off massive sections of major cities, forcing people to slow down and pay attention to what was happening. Almost like when you see a crime scene that's covered in police tape. The red colour would be perfect for this promotional campaign, and also later on for the album's visuals as a whole. Because not only is red an obvious nod to love, but also a representation of danger, power, and aggression, hinting that BTS were going to come back bigger and stronger than ever. And we did indeed see themes of danger, power, and aggression in the lyrics of ARIRANG when it eventually released. So why What Is Your Love Song? Well, to understand this, we need to take a look at the name of the album, ARIRANG. ARIRANG is actually a traditional Korean folk song that dates all the way back to the 1700s. While no one knows exactly what ARIRANG means, the song encapsulates many emotions such as loss, longing, realization, and deep connection for a loved one. The song has over 3,000 variations that originate from different areas in Korea and is often considered Korea's unofficial national anthem. Looking back on the campaign through this lens, I think BTS were essentially asking, what is your ARIRANG? But phrasing it as What Is Your Love Song allowed BTS to make this campaign more accessible to a global audience, as people who are not familiar with K-culture probably wouldn't understand the meaning of ARIRANG. So a couple of weeks after this promotional campaign, the album was finally revealed as ARIRANG, and it was accompanied by this beautiful logo that was designed by Jungkook. The logo cleverly incorporates elements that are reminiscent of the South Korean flag, with the circular shapes taken from the circular part in the middle of the flag, and the negative space in the last two elements of the logo taken from the decorative lines in the corners of the South Korean flag. Now, I have seen a couple of theories online where people are trying to read this logo as ARIRANG, but as soon as I saw this logo, I've always read it as BTS, just in a way that's stylized for the promotion of this album. If you take a look at the negative space specifically, the first part of the logo loosely resembles a B, the second part of the logo has negative space that represents the crossbar of a T, and the last part of the logo has negative space that shows the shape of an S. But obviously this is coming from a white boy's perspective who only knows English, so of course if you're Korean you might interpret this in a different way. But I think that's partly where the genius lies, where it can be interpreted as BTS or as ARIRANG. I love the idea of taking elements from something so on the nose as the Korean flag and including it in the logo design. It really makes the logo feel Korean while giving it a modern and sleek feel. With a strong Korean inspired design, the logo really fits in with the messages and tones within this album. They really are saying we are Korean and we're not sorry about it. Which leads us on to the album cover, which includes the ARIRANG logo with the 7 members dressed in suits staring straight down the lens of the camera. Now, you might think this album cover is very simple and that there just wouldn't be a lot to discuss, but that's where you would be completely wrong. This album cover directly parallels the story of the first recording of the ARIRANG folk song, dating back to 1896. As the accounts go, 7 male students fled Korea to go study abroad in America, and found themselves at Howard University in Washington, D.C. a historically black university that welcomed all students regardless of racial background. It was there that these 7 boys sang the first known recording of ARIRANG and took this picture with their professor, which is directly paralleled in the album cover of ARIRANG. 7 boys from Korea now finding themselves in America, each one of them dressed to the nines in formal suits, and all of them looking towards the camera, leveraging over 100 years of history and bringing a historical moment of Korean culture to the forefront. This is the kind of visual design that I love. Something that tells a visual story with a deep connection to culture and history. Completely genius visual design that goes far beyond pixels on a screen. I would also like to add that this is the first time that BTS have appeared on an album cover for one of their Korean language releases. In the past, all of their Korean album covers have been designed with digital graphics. So this being the first Korean language release that has the members on the album cover really is a powerful statement, especially for an album that's so closely tied to their culture and their heritage. Next up, I'd like to talk about the tracklist and the promotional schedule design. So for those who are unfamiliar with the way a K-pop album rolls out, before an album's release, the artist will often drop a tracklist on social media. That's usually a graphic that is designed around the album's visual identity. And either before or after the album release, they'll also drop another graphic which details the promotional schedule of the album, usually with the same visual identity. That usually details all the additional multimedia content that will accompany the album. So for ARIRANG's tracklist and promotional schedule, it takes the red tape aesthetic found in the What Is Your Love Song campaign and pushes it even further. With the tracklist, we can see that all of the songs are written on red tape, with the exception of Swim, the title track, being written on black tape. This is an excellent visual cue to indicate that Swim is the lead single. BTS had mentioned that they wanted to go back to their roots with ARIRANG, and I feel like they've done this with the visual design of the tracklist and the promotional schedule as well. If we take a look at some of BTS's first few album covers, you can see that the distressed textures of the ARIRANG promotional schedule and tracklist really match with these, especially when you factor in the red tape, which really matches with Oh Are You Late Too and Dark and Wild. These older albums also had a message of rebellious youth, which is also reflected in the visual design of the ARIRANG tracklist and promotional schedule. So all of these people online who are saying that ARIRANG is too dissimilar from old BTS, I suggest that you look back further, because even before we heard the music from this album, the visuals did a fantastic job of capturing that classic BTS energy. Finally, let's move on to the album packaging design. And one word that I can use to describe this is authenticity. I have the Living Legend version, so the contents of the other versions will vary. The box is made out of high quality cardboard with a black and white version of the ARIRANG logo on the front. The contents of the album include bookmarks, photo cards, sticker sheets, and of course the CD, all of which have the members' personal touch left upon them. Taking a look at the envelope that contains all of the goodies, the first thing that I noticed was the Big Dipper constellation, which is connected by dots that are marked with little sevens that were each written by one of the BTS members. I did a little digging into the significance of the Big Dipper constellation in Korea and found that it represents longevity and life. So this is yet another visual element that is backed by cultural significance. The sticker sheet includes handwriting from all the members of ARIRANG in English and Korean, and also includes this cute little drawing by one of the BTS members. The back of the photo cards are also personally signed by each of the BTS members, which makes you feel that little bit more connected to them. The packaging design of this album is very stripped back and minimal, which really highlights all of the personal touches left behind by each of the members. It's very clear to me that the BTS members wanted people to feel more connected to them in a way that goes beyond just the music. And this style of packaging design is absolutely perfect for that. They could have continued using the red tape aesthetic for the packaging design, but instead they made it a more intimate experience while also just being their authentic selves. We've really seen how the visual design team behind BTS's ARIRANG have used a wide range of visual elements to bring this album to life and cement this album as a key moment in their discography. From using red tape across major cities to attract the attention of the masses and remind everyone of BTS's disruptive hip-hop beginnings, to using key aspects of Korean culture and history to spotlight this significant time in BTS's career, all while allowing the members to leave their personal touch on the most important touch point in the album rollout, the physical album packaging. And this is all without mentioning the music at all, which is absolutely incredible, by the way. I think this just highlights how having a strong brand or visual identity is important for music, or any medium for that matter, and can really go a long way in enhancing the product or service that said medium is trying to promote. The visual identity of ARIRANG smashes it out of the park and showcases perfectly who BTS are as a group, further solidifying them as a cultural force who won't be slowing down anytime soon. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this week's video. If you enjoy what you watch, please make sure to like, share, comment and subscribe because it truly helps me out. You can also buy me a coffee on Ko-Fi, link in the description, and if you would like to check out some of my other videos, you can see those on screen now. But that is all for today's video guys, so I will see you next week. Bye!